You might have heard of helicopter parenting. It's a fairly common style of parenting that is not effective and it has a lot of adverse effects. But it's becoming more and more prevalent every year. In this video, I want to share some of the dangers of helicopter parenting, and I want to introduce some ideas that I think are much more useful and powerful. So let's get started. We've all heard the term helicopter parenting. These are parents that stand over their kid's shoulder, directing every move, obsessing about their children's success, and making sure they can correct mistakes immediately. Helicopter parents are overly protective and overly involved, but they see this as being a good parent. It's seductive because they're definitely some of the most hardworking parents you'll ever find. In fact, many see parenting as their ultimate purpose of being in this world. Well, there are three types of behaviors that exemplify a helicopter parent. Number one, over-involvement in your child's daily life, like needing to know where they are at all times, helping them make all decisions. These are parents that are micromanaging the living daylights out of their kids' lives. Number two, directly intervening in any and all of their kids' conflicts. If they make a bad decision, like forgetting to turn in their homework, that parent is there to make sure the teacher knows and the kid gets the grade. You don't let your child handle it, you handle it yourself. If the kid has conflicts with their friends, the parents are intervening. Number three, helicopter parents limit their child's autonomy. These are parents that control their kids' lives, make decisions for them, and if the kid makes a decision they don't like, the parent will not support that decision at all. You can find a lot of books addressing the topic of helicopter parenting and why it's not that great. There's a lot of research showing that it actually keeps kids socially and emotionally immature, inflexible, anxious, dependent, and self-conscious. These kids are more self-critical and more depressed. Nobody wants this for their kids. So if you find yourself falling into this category, you need to really consider your approach and work on changing. Another aspect of helicopter parenting is that these parents are working way harder at solving their kids' problems than the kids themselves are. You are essentially sending the message that you need me to solve all of your life's problems. You can't do this on your own, and you will never be safe without me. Let me illustrate this with an example. I recently spent some time with an almost 18-year-old young man who had stopped attending school. He was depressed, anxious, and self-medicating with a lot of marijuana. The story I got was that this boy had grown up as a really high-achieving, very bright young man. He was a star athlete, and he was a star in just about anything he did. That is until about a year ago when he started to crash and burn. At this point, he's sleeping all day, he's refusing to do anything around the house, and he's missing huge amounts of school. This was a boy who was previously on the Ivy League track, and now he's doing nothing. His parents have tried everything. They even tried putting him in a short-term 6-week residential treatment program. Well, he was angry that they put him there, and he complained daily to them the whole time he was there. Before he returned home, he agreed to a behavioral contract that involved attending school, not using drugs, and eating dinner with his family every night. When he got home, that lasted for 9 days, and then he was back to these old behaviors. Well, after several more months of not attending school and getting high almost every day of the week, his parents talked him into going back and attending the same treatment program again. It took a lot of effort on their part, and they essentially lied to him. They told him that if he'd just go for a few weeks, they'd buy him a car when he got home. Well, their plan all along was they were just hoping that he would get with the program, and then he would want to stay in treatment because he was feeling better. But it did not turn out this way. He was so angry about being there, primarily because of the structure and rules that were in the program. But all he did was complain and then threaten his parents that if they didn't take him home, he would emancipate from them. Well, this turned into another early exit with the same behavioral contract, and this time he lasted for 3 weeks. Well, A few months later, I was called to come work with his family. He was skipping school, and he's now expressing feelings of depression, anxiety, and hopelessness. I spent the day with this boy. I found him to be remarkably bright, but he was angry, irritable, depressed, and unmotivated. He was angry at his parents, and he basically blamed them for all of his problems. While I was with him that day, I probably received 15 text messages from his mother asking me, how is he responding to you? And she was letting me know in various ways how supportive they were of him. They would do anything for them. She kept sending me messages over and over, letting me know that they would do anything. They were unbelievably willing to help him and do whatever was needed. But this was, in fact, both the truest fact of the matter and perhaps one of the biggest obstacles that they were dealing with. They just didn't realize that part of the issue had to do with how willing they were to help and how hard they were working at it. They were, and they had been for his entire life, over-functioning for this boy. I would say they were working much, much, much harder at getting him better than he was working at it. The funny thing about it was, he resented them for all of the over-functioning they were doing for him, but at the same time, he demanded that they do this, that they take care of him, that they give him whatever he wanted. Let me sort of tell you what a typical day in his life was like. So he would wake up, he would refuse to go to school because he was too tired and depressed. And so there was his mom every morning, literally trying to cheerlead him out of his bed. And I mean literally. She was honestly so pleasant about it. But this cheerleading included waking him up, offering to make him breakfast, and begging him to go to school. She just so badly wanted him to finish high school. She'd do anything to help him. Well, he was irritated by this. He resented her every morning. He resented her attempts at waking him up, and he would ask her to leave him alone. That's all he ever really wanted, actually, was for her to leave him alone. Well, except for the one time that she had a work meeting that lasted into the evening, and then he berated her for coming home so late. Why do you think he was mad? Because he couldn't find anything to eat. Normally, she made him all of his meals. Before we move on to the next part of this video, I want to thank you for watching this video. Are you struggling to communicate with your child how to discipline them effectively? You know, none of us is given a manual when our kids are born telling us what to do in every situation. We learn by trial and error. Well, that's what this channel is all about. It's about using my system of correcting and connecting to build a strong, trusting, and influential relationship with your child. If that's the kind of thing you want to know more about, then like this video, subscribe to my channel, and share this with your friends. Now let's get back to this story. How do you change if you're a helicopter parent? What do you do if you're over-functioning for your child? Well, here's 3 ideas for you. Number 1, and I know this sounds simple, stop it. If you're doing this, do whatever you can to stop. Get professional help if you have to, but you have to stop this because you are actually creating the problems that you're facing. Don't do things for your kids that they can and should be doing for themselves. For example, if your child struggles with math, please do not do their math homework for them. Don't write their essays for them. How many times have I seen this over the years? You must allow them to struggle and encourage them to persist when things get difficult. Be willing to allow your kids to have pain. Number 2, never intervene and stop consequences from happening due to your child's behavior or lack of behavior. For example, if Susie did her homework but forgot to turn it in, and now she has makeup homework to do, let her experience that consequence. Number 3, when your child has a problem, ask them to come up with a creative solution to resolve it. Teach them to think independently, and by all means, quit giving them the solution to everything. The dilemmas they have now are minor in comparison to the dilemmas they'll have as adults, and the more they can learn to problem solve, the better. Are you looking for a more effective way to connect with your child and build long-term positive influence? Maybe your child is misbehaving or going through a difficult phase, and you struggle to know how to discipline them, or even sometimes just how to reach them at all. My name is Dr. Todd Corelli, and I have spent the last 25 years as a clinical psychologist working primarily with children, adolescents, young adults, and families. I have worked with thousands of families around the world, and I have seen the challenges facing families today. That's why I've created a 4-part video series that is completely free to watch and available online for immediate viewing. This will help parents become more effective at bonding with and positively influencing their children. This system is completely unique and highly effective. I have seen this system benefit my own family and so many others, and I want your family to have this too. So just go to the link in the video description below, or you can go to correctandconnect.com, enter the details, click the button, and I will send you immediate access.